So thanks very much, guys, for making it to the session 2 in the Next Generation series. So today we're going to be talking about why video, or how video, or why video is so powerful in 2021. Now we know that video is always picking up. I think I've been on LinkedIn for like 9 years, but over the last 2 years, since 2019, I started pushing the ante on video. But for some reason, and I was getting a lot of traction, but for some reason in 2020, and we all know why, lots more people started doing video. And lots more people started doing video everywhere, not just on LinkedIn. It was not the case of, oh, we need to hire a crew with 3 camera people and we need to do Hollywood style production or what have you. People just started doing video left, right, and center. A lot of it was good, but a majority was crap. But it still got, even the crap videos got traction. And this is with all due respect to all the content creators out there. I mean, we admire their passion and the enthusiasm to get stuff done. And then I was just looking at the guys that actually did it really well, and not necessarily with big budgets. So I thought, okay, so it's showing a lot of promise. I know a lot of people are interested, and a lot of people are even more interested in knowing how they can better their performance in video. They want to know what exactly they can do to make better videos and to leverage video to get more, whatever it is, to get more views, to get more customers, to get more engagement, to do some onboarding, whatever it is. So with that in mind, we decided to get 2 of the best. Yep, 2 of the very best. So it's Ravi Rajani, and I know you said you don't want to. I don't know if you're comfortable with this or not, but we were going back, old school, right?
What was that?
Money savvy Ravi. Right.
that was like like Batman and Bruce Wayne. That was like that was my version of Batman back in 2016. 2016.
But that was pretty good. And actually, a lot of that advice is still valid today. I looked at the one where you're telling Lorraine about what is that? Saving money. I mean, Windows, all that stuff. It's pretty practical advice. What's the word here? It's what's the word I'm looking for? I seem to have lost my word, man. It's like it's advice for the ages.
Evergreen.
Evergreen. Yeah, evergreen. It's evergreen advice. Yeah.
Evergreen. Yeah. No, thank you, bro. It takes me back a few years, but
yeah, it was good. I like to take people past on a stroll, on a memory lane, man. And then we decided to get Paul, and Paul's the man behind Baked Bean Media. And one of the first videos, actually, I saw a lot of videos. And by the way, when this whole pandemic's finished, you're not taking me out, but you're making me a steak meal, okay? And I don't remember which one it was, but I think, did you do one with the Béarnaise sauce or something like that?
Yeah, I did one with Béarnaise sauce. But Barry, I don't know about you, but if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay for it. So I don't know when I'm cooking for you, because I'm gonna have to start charging you, Barry, to eat. But no, of course, Barry, after the lockdown, when you're allowed to, I will cook a steak for you.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to that. Because it's just, see, this is the other thing about, the alluring thing about video, right? Like, I could be watching anything. I go watching the Food Network, but when I see somebody that I can relate to, who also happens to be a chef and who does really good, like seemingly good steaks and stuff, and who really enjoys the process. Because I like it when you're chopping stuff and when you're drizzling your steaks with it. It's just like, man, I want to eat that stuff. It looks appetizing.
Barry, this is a video webinar, not a food webinar.
All right, I forgot. I got carried away.
I had a client, must have been months ago, and he was like, dude, you need to follow this guy called Paul Brown. His videos are amazing. He's cooking, doing different stuff. And I was like, I'm with the legend himself right now. Look at that.
I wouldn't say legend, mate. I wouldn't say legend. But
legend.
Who was a client anyway?
He was a guy called Tim Barker.
Yeah, I know Tim. Yeah, good guy. Yeah.
That's like saying, I know this guy called John Smith. I'm
Googling him now, by the way.
Go for
it.
All
right, so for the people that don't know, Ravi Rajani is, let me just, I know this off the top of my head because we interact with each other's content all the time, but Ravi's got the gift of the gab, right? As is evident. He's, but unlike most people, he uses his gift to help others. And you could take it in a Spider-Man, Batman sort of way, right? Because since we're talking about superheroes, he helps busy executives, sales teams, and business owners get really good at storytelling to become confident speakers and to deliver better presentations. If you want to, if there's anything you want to add to that, Ravi, you got like 30 seconds.
Nah, bro, you did a pretty good job. Yeah, you are virtually there. You are virtually there.
Awesome, man. And then we'll move on to Paul. Paul's a video marketing machine. Okay, I always wanted to say that Paul's a video marketing machine, and he's managed. So one of the commendable things that he's done is he's managed to grow his social media following from whatever it was to 100,000 in a span of what, 3 years? Took you 3 years to get to 100,000.
3 years. Yeah.
Wow, that is really good. That is really good. And I think most of your efforts were what, video? How did you get to 100,000?
Exactly. Yeah, the video strategy of pumping content out there,
Awesome.
and just to stress, I haven't been on TV or MasterChef to get them followers. I've had to work hard to get 100,000 followers.
This is you're talking about a real influencer, not somebody who's famous for being famous.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
All right, so we know. I mean, we discussed. We talked about video at our meeting earlier, and then just before the session. So we know, and we also went through my initial introduction. So would you guys say video is important now more than ever? Ravi, you want to go first?
Yeah, bro, it is. I think regardless of if you're an entrepreneur, employee, entrepreneur, salesperson, the best way to connect and cut through the noise is by using video. But I will say video is great, but you also need to pick your weapon of choice. Meaning for some people, writing copy is fantastic and that's what they're great at. Awesome. But when somebody says to me specifically, oh, I'm not good at video, often it's driven from a place of fear and they don't have enough data to actually say that. So I think everybody should try video, but have the self-awareness around what actually is their weapon of choice.
Fair enough. Makes sense. Paul?
Yeah, Ravi's hit the nail on the head. I'm not very good at copywriting. I'm actually quite poor. I tried it today on LinkedIn to do a post, and it just doesn't work naturally. But I am with copywriting trying to be myself when I write and not try and be a corporate writer. So, just writing what you're saying, and even if it's got spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes, I still post it because it's authentically me. But yeah, I'm a big fan of videos. Videos in my eyes can go viral. You have to do a lot for an article to go viral. So in this day and age where everyone's on their phone, TikTok, Instagram, they've all got the opportunity to go viral if your content's good.
Absolutely. So what would you say, like, all right, so this one's addressed to Paul. What goes into making, how would you define, what is good content?
Yeah, good content is a good story, and potentially the second factor is a good production. I watch Ravi's production, and Ravi's production is A1, where I think myself, I'm probably not as clean and as I don't spend so much time on my production. I shoot from my hip, and I'm not saying one's right or wrong, but yeah, I think the both thing that we both have got is great stories. If Ravi didn't have a good story, I wouldn't watch to the end his content. So I would say story first, a purpose, and then potentially production.
Fair enough. Ravi?
Oh man, so much. I think let's take on a few points. So firstly, it has to speak to one specific person. If we're talking about as a business, right? Because what can often happen is we end up trying to speak to everybody and then we end up serving nobody. And guess what? We help nobody. So a lot of the time, if you can really speak to one specific individual with a specific pain point or whatever it might be in a video to grow your business, that really helps. Number two is Paul does this literally amazingly well. I don't see many do it like Paul. Highly relatable, and you can connect with him. Like, you feel his energy. So for example, who Paul is now is the same dude that sent me a video when we first connected. Like, what you see is what you get, and you don't often get that. You get sometimes a real disconnect because people wear a corporate mask. So the relatability is super important. And as Paul said, great stories, and also something which is both entertaining and educational. Because the truth is there could be somebody with amazing expertise, but if they can't package that up in a way which is good for LinkedIn, which is a news feed, and they can't stop somebody in their tracks, that video will never get watched. So what is the wrapping paper and the bow that you are putting on your expertise? Because that is super important. Otherwise, nobody's going to open that present up and they won't learn more about you and the golden nugget that you've got to share.
Yeah, makes sense. In fact, now that you mention it, I mean, one of the things that caught my attention, especially with so both of you guys have like, we all agree, social media and LinkedIn and all these are influence platforms, right? So you create your influence first, and then eventually, once you've built trust and everything, then you start selling. And I hate it when people think it's the other way around. There was this time, I think last year, I don't know if you remember this, Ravi, but it is something that stuck by me when my dad passed away, and I didn't post for like a week, and then I did, and I told everyone my dad passed away, and a lot of people were like, hey, listen, I hope you're okay, may he rest in peace and all that. And then there were a few people that actually went to, sent me a message. Ravi, you were one of them. And he's just like, hey, listen, sad to hear about your dad and whatever. And that really hit a chord. Like, it struck a chord, because I was like, okay, not many people are actually, a lot of people can just pile onto an existing a message thread, but not everyone actually jumps into a DM and writes a few lines, So that sort of really struck a chord in me. And Paul, you were one of the first people. I think you're the only guy to send me an e-cake for my birthday, man. That was really cool. Yeah.
Hold on, what did Paul do? He sent you a cake.
He sent me an e-cake.
No way, that's so good.
I'll let Paul explain.
Think about this, okay? What is, people like Christmas and birthdays, and to keep in contact with your network, send everyone a birthday cake. That was my goal, but I didn't have the money to send everyone a birthday cake, so I decided to create an e-cake. So just an e-cake, and the idea is you actually blow out the candles.
Yeah,
and they go
I actually blew out. I blew out the candles on my cake.
Yeah, and it's a original content idea, but I think just once again having some fun. I never ever planned to do that video. I made a cheesecake in 10 minutes as a challenge to myself. And then I thought, actually, this would be really nice to someone whose birthday it was. And then I made it into a video. So yeah, a lot of ideas just come from the hip, basically.
Yeah, and it's a simple idea, and like you said, you thought about it on the spur of the moment, but it's like, I don't know, if you've obviously you've sent it to other people, I'm sure it might have stuck with them, because it's something that's new, it's never been done before, and the thing is, it takes an effort. It takes effort on behalf of somebody to do that. Like, even if it's a plain video, because not a lot of people do that, but some people. So I've been doing it since March last year, so technically it'll be a year. I use a tool called SendSpark right now, but before I used to use VideoArt, and I made it for March, April, May, 3 months. What I did is, like, I'd spend about 30-40 minutes a day, just randomly picking people that I might have an interest with on LinkedIn, somebody that I could do business with, or just basically just grow my network with. And I just randomly record a video and just send it to them. It's like, hey, listen, what's up? It's been a while since we connected. And the thing was, if I were to do that, and I actually A/B tested this, right? So for 2 weeks, for the first 2 weeks, I just sent them plain text messages. And then for the third week, I sent them voice messages. And the fourth and the fifth week, I sent them video messages. The plain text messages, out of 100, I think I got like 5 replies, right? The voice messages did a bit better. I got 20 replies. In fact, a lot of people are like, hey, we didn't even know we could do this on LinkedIn. But the video got the best response. Almost literally, I sent it to 30 people. Out of the 30, I think 25 people, whether it is positive or negative, whatever, they still responded saying, hey, thanks, really appreciate the video, or whatever. So that got me to thinking, I mean, people really appreciate the video. And plus, it was personal. It wasn't like a generic thing. It was personal. So it's like, hey, Ravi, how you doing? Kind of like how I sent you guys the invite to come on board the Next Gen series, right? So I sent you guys video, and it was more appropriate because we were talking about video. But even otherwise, I think it makes way more sense, because people kind of relate to that. You can see, you can visualize, you can feel almost. So it's all about making those connections. So so going back to this question, Ravi, what do you think is the biggest factor that puts people off making videos?
Fear of judgment. It's like, that's the main thing, fear of judgment. Because the truth is you've got, and LinkedIn is a slightly different beast, in my opinion, to other platforms. And I don't hang out on other platforms, so Paul will be better versed to answer that. But Instagram, you go to for a specific reason. YouTube, I'd go for long form content. LinkedIn, you've got colleagues, you potentially got friends, you've got business networks, you've got recruiters. People are attached to their business. So crazypants84@hotmail.com is less reluctant to go, you're an idiot, even though you get it right. So people still wear a mask, I think, on LinkedIn. And it's easy to, right? Especially when you're associated with a company, your reputation's on the line. I get it. But with that comes another layer of complexity compared to every other platform, which is, what will people say? What will my employer say? Will I get in trouble for this? And if I show up as my real self, will I put off and alienate existing clients or potential business? When actually, when you show up as you, you'll get the right people gravitating towards you and naturally repel those who aren't the right fit for you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, totally agree. And I've gone through this journey myself. Just say family members are like, well, you shouldn't do that. You know, it's not very professional. And I 100% just discount anything they say, just because it's got me in the door so many different places. And if I was as cautious and worried as much as my family, then I would never achieve anything. So I think life is changing. No one wants to hear the word authentic, but you know, you have to do what yourself. And I've even gone to an extreme. Like if I film something, I never edit it. I just put it up there because that's the real thing. You know, if I fall over, that's great content. You know, I'm not.
Yep.
No way am I gonna redo that? Or you know, if I get punched in the face, you know, how good would that be on video? You know, like
That'll go viral.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, don't, anyone that's thinking about not doing a video, just honestly, don't worry. There's always haters in life, and there's always people, not necessarily haters, but negative. But if you've got a goal, stay to your goal, and if you've got an opinion, don't be scared to say it. I am very poor of saying my opinion on camera. So things like Black Lives Matters, Brexit. So don't be scared to. So this is something that I'm personally trying to overcome at the moment, is getting my opinion out without the fear of being the guy that sits on the fence all the time. And I've done that far too much. I'm not aiming to create a war. Like, this is my view, but yeah, try and educate people my view and listen to other people's views. So that's something big for me in 2021.
I think Paul mentions a really interesting point as well about what he said earlier as to getting out there and doing it. Like, for example, on LinkedIn, I started last year. I've been on the platform for a year, but I started with a 30-day video challenge, no subtitles, nothing fancy, just shot, boom, out every day. And you build momentum, and then it costs you more to quit than to continue. So it's like building that momentum. And once you do it, you won't want to stop, man. You won't want to stop.
No, and you're absolutely right. I think once you start doing it, you're going to see lots of things happen, not just on LinkedIn, but just in general. You know, I mean, obviously there's the cosmetics, there's you start improving in terms of likes and comments or whatever. But on top of that, you start getting active engagement from your target niche. You know, people that are really, and like you said, this is a good way of filtering out the people that you want to reach out to. Not because not everyone's going to be, not everyone is going to end up with 100,000, 200,000. 500,000 followers, right? But I know a few people that have a couple of thousand, maybe 3,000-4,000 followers on LinkedIn. Okay, but they're really killing it, not just with content, but just generating leads on business, because they've got the right community. They're talking to the right people. You know, they're not talking to 1,000 people, out of which only 10 people are interested in their service. They're talking to, you know, 1,000 people, out of which 900 people are really genuinely interested in their service. So at some point in time, you know, they're going to insert themselves in the buying cycle and buy whatever it is they're selling. And I think that's what, and this is where you can insert video, because video is just part of that buying cycle. Because it depends on, like, if you look at the whole marketing funnel, right? It depends on which part of the funnel somebody comes into your, which part somebody comes into your funnel. He may come in reading a blog post. And that's, okay, so I've been influenced by reading a blog post. Like we currently have We're helping a SaaS company, generate content and stuff. So, and it's a very, very specialized niche. So we said, listen, we want people to, because they're targeting CEOs and technical CEOs, not just any CEOs, people with technical background, in production, in the production industries and engineering and those kind of people. So those kind of people, you're probably going to influence them by a blog post, but eventually they're going to need a video. Okay. And then you talk to the people that are lower than them, who are the actual people that will be using the software. Now, these people need to be impressed with video. They don't want to read 1,500 word articles on how the product can improve their life. They want to watch a video in 1-2 minutes, and whatever it is, it might be a graphic video, it might be a testimonial of some other customer that managed to do well using that software, whatever it is. So it all depends on when people come in and what they see, and if they see it at the right time, it's the application, right? If they see that video at the right time and it's the right message, you're talking, I think it's a bigger chance for those people to convert. So on one end, we're talking about social media content, social media videos, and then on the other hand, we're talking about just videos in general. And now I want to jump to the next question, which is, so I don't know how old you guys are. Actually, I know how old Ravi is, but I don't know how old you are, Paul. But
I'm 30.
I'm 39, so I'm older than you guys, right? So I'm 42, and I'm like, I started off old school marketing, like in the year 2000, so literally 21 years, and that was way back when approvals were still sent. We had email and stuff, but approvals were still sent using fax machines. Like, you'd send a fax machine, you get a fax, you get your boss to sign, and then be all that stuff. And here's the thing: those guys, the way they thought because I remember I used to work for like a top 10 logistics company back then, and our aim at the time was to translate what happened behind the scenes, because back then logistics warehousing was a very dirty business, right? It was like, people in overalls, greasy overalls, driving forklifts in a messed up warehouse. And we relaunched this new service in the Middle East, this company called Agility, which is in the top 10 right now. They launched the first, their warehouse was like the Hilton compared to everything else, right? They invested in racking. Their floor was a 20,000 square meter floor, super flat. So we hired a video crew to come in, and we said, listen, we want to change what people think about warehousing. We want to make it look glamorous. So it took us a while, but the video that we shot was like glamorizing, a fancy voiceover. Obviously, it was in the Middle East, so we had an American voiceover for English and an Arabic voice for Arabic. We did these panoramic shots, and when we said super flat floor, now honestly, it looks just about as flat as any floor. But when you do certain camera angles, and then you see a forklift coming like that, and then picking stuff up, and then you get a pan shot on top, it made it look so glamorous. And I'll tell you guys, this is way before YouTube and social media, right? Year 2000, 2001. I think half of customers that signed up with us signed up just because they saw that video, because they thought it was cool. They were expecting a video of a warehouse with boxes stacked, and here we glamorize this whole thing. But the problem back then was, and luckily we had the money to pay for that kind of thing. Later on, people started, they wanted to do this, but they realized to do something like that, you had to spend quite a bit of money to get something of that production quality, all right? And that carried on for the next 10 years. Fast forward to like the past few years now, with the advent of smartphones and, all these gizmos and technologies that we have, you can make a video. I'm sure you must have heard about all these films, these really successful films there was one film that they made using a Samsung S7 or S8 like 7 or 8 years ago. It wasn't Hollywood or whatever, but it was relatively successful. It got like 335 million views on YouTube and what have you. So now it's like democratization, not just of data, but of everything that's connected with content and creating content, including video and stuff. Now, where do you think somebody needs to draw the line? And Paul, we talked about this earlier, right? A couple of days ago. There is a corporate video, okay, and a corporate video obviously needs to be corporate. It needs to communicate the values of the company and what have you. And then there's all this other content, the content that we do, that I do, that Ravi does, that you do. Where do you need to draw a line somewhere? And
The answer is no. Like even thinking about what I said a few days ago, you can invest in high quality corporate video, but if your business isn't that message, it doesn't have to be a professional corporate video. Yes, okay, if you're maybe in the city or in central London, 100 staff. Your website should have a corporate video on it. Maybe you're looking for investors. Maybe you want to show to the world that you are a corporate business. So yeah, I think there is that level of you need a corporate video. But anything on social media, myself, I do very little editing. If I do any editing at all, I literally just trim a video to the highlights and post it. That's kind of the headlines of my editing capabilities.
Okay, I get
So,
it. Ravi? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Go on, Paul. You gonna say something?
yeah, no, I think you know, you can edit, but I always find the more time you edit, you could be creating more content. So, and if the story's good, then you're halfway there.
Yeah, that's true. Funny you mentioned that. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna give Ravi the chair, and then you got the pillow. The pillow, man.
Mate, what specifically is the question? Are we saying draw the line between fully editing and not, and who you're speaking?
Yeah, but between like really slick, overproduced video and.
I mean, dude, the thing is I've done videos which I've sent to an editor for like $20 a video, $25 a video, and they've done okay. I've done one of me with 0 subtitles, just selfie style, walking down in London, and it pops way more. So I think it's about really understanding. I don't like to use it as a crutch. Oh no, I can't do a video this week because my editor's on holiday. That is an excuse. You can just whack a camera up and do it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But then also, Paul mentioned a good point. If you're raising money for your business, if you're doing a Series A and you're speaking to venture capital companies, it's a different style of video to if you're just sending a video DM to a prospect, right? And also maybe even a different style of communication. You're still showing up as you. However, the way you communicate your message may be slightly different because you want to sprinkle in relatable language, which your ideal customer or the ideal investor goes, I get it. I get exactly why we need to invest in Rav, in Paul, in Barry.
Yeah, it's true. I agree with both you guys. I mean, I remember this time, I was going to say last year, but the year before last, because this is when I started doing like the first couple of videos that I made was horrible. It was just experimenting, and I just went off. I was just ranting about something. I don't remember what it was. I think I'd gone to an exhibition, and somebody asked me a whole bunch of people asked me the same stupid question. I just ranted on about something. But then ever since then, I started investing time and effort into making like decent, videos. A lot of them, I tried my best to get as many subtitles as 90% of them had captions, slick editing, whatever. And they were okay, they were climbing up in terms of views. So the first one got 300 views, and 500 and 700, 1,000, 2,000, whatever. And then this one time, I think I had a client upset me. Okay, a prospect actually upset me because they were trying to dodge us, and I was trying to do them a favor. And then I was sitting in a restaurant in Soho. Okay, and I don't know what happened. I got my coffee, and then I just say, you know what, screw it, and I just recorded a selfie video on my camera, and I'm like, these guys, what do you people think? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was, and I just hit send. No sub. I think I did do subtitles, but I did a very quick rev. I did a rev, and then a couple hours later I posted it. No editing, nothing. And you could hear the clattering of the plates and stuff in the background. No music, nothing. Just a headline and then subtitles. That video went on to like hit 12,000, 11,000 views. I was like, whoa. And lots of comments, lots of engagement. I was like, all this time I'm investing in editing and cutting and stuff. And although my videos are not like, I don't read a script, although I just have a couple of bullet points. So I'm just like, okay, that's what I do. That's what I do. So, but this one, I just went off on I just went on a rant. And people are like, yeah, I feel you, brother. I mean, I've been in that position. I know, I hate it when a client does this and whatever. And it was no cuts, no edit, nothing. And it did so much well. So I still do the slick editing and stuff. But then every once in a while I throw in that, walking video. There's another one I did in September, which did really well. And lots of people still tell me about it. That was like, I think it got over 300, whatever. And it was I just thought of this idea. I was coming back home. I was on my way back from shopping, and I just realized, okay, this pandemic's been around for a while. No, we've apart from our immediate family, we've lost touch with a lot of people. So how about we just, so I started a challenge. I whipped out my phone, recorded. I did a recording saying, hey guys, listen, why don't from today onwards, for the next 30 days, I'm going to call at least one friend that I haven't spoken to in a really long time. And it could be anyone, somebody from school, college, my old roommate from uni, whatever. Just get in touch with them, say hi, what's up. And a lot of people seem to think that was like a brilliant idea. And it was just me walking on the street. There was a lot of bubbling, there's traffic in the background. Again, those organically, like, unproduced videos seem to always do, really well compared to these overproduced ones.
I think the reason why, or I asked you, Barry, why do you think it was the one of you in Soho? Why do you think it was so successful?
I was being honest. I was annoyed. I was upset. I was being honest. I was being authentic. I was being myself.
Why do you think the audience liked it?
I guess they like authenticity. Here's a guy that they could relate to. Relatability, I guess.
Yeah, relatability. They all have been in the same situation as you. They all had the pain like you, and they wanted to relate to you of having that pain. So that is why. And every perfectly edited video is normally a nice, happy story. People like conflict. People like the drama, and watch the news. A lot of clips on the news these days are recorded from people's mobile phones because they catch the moment. You never ever realize you're watching a mobile phone scene with bad pixelated, out of focus.
Yeah, because you're focused on the content,
the story, the content, and what's going on. And I think that's the most key thing, is that the story is so important.
Right.
Relatable.
I agree. Like the idea of, like, if you look at every single story since the beginning of time, it has conflict. Aladdin, Jafar, what's it? Lion King, Simba, what's his name? Scar. I nearly said Mufasa.
Mufasa.
Sorry?
The Bible.
Exactly.
Oh, the Bible. Yeah.
Every story, right? There is conflict. There is context. There's conflict. There's a turning point. There's a transformation. And if you look at the best storytellers and the people who use different story arcs, hero's journey, whatever it could be, they tell great stories, man. So people who can tell good stories, realistically, the editing, all the fancy stuff is just the icing. But what I think is the problem is people will see content creators with beautiful editing, lighting, etc. People will say, I can't start until I have XYZ. Then they use that as an excuse, versus it should be the opposite. But that is the game that we're playing today.
Would you go so far as to say, is like, there's a lot of people, I watch a lot of videos on LinkedIn or even other platforms, but would you go so far as to say that some of the people, not all, but some that use very slick videos and stuff are doing that because they want to take the focus off themselves because maybe they're not good in front of a camera?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's because they have a good story and they're using edited to make it better. And I think a lot of the good productions with good stories, they do go to that next level of viral. My story on my battle is with YouTube. I've got 2,500 followers on YouTube, but I'm scared to post videos because of low views. So it sounds very vain, but you put a lot of effort into filming, editing for YouTube, and then you get the people may not be interested in that video you did. So I've now gone to the strategy of downgrading my editing, and sometimes filming a YouTube on a iPhone versus a £4,000 camera to try and make the perfect YouTube video. And yeah, I've had a spike. I've had 60,000 views in one video just because the story was better than it has been before using expensive camera equipment. So yeah, there is this real balance between story and production. But yeah, some people on YouTube get it really right. And mate, I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, Ravi, but you do very well on your production's good and there's a good hook to the video. So Jonathan Palmer, I don't know if you've seen him in the States.
Yeah, birthday boy today, by the way.
Yeah, I like him.
He produces nice edited content as good quality, educational, authentic. There's people out there and they're doing it very well. And I think once you've got the formula then you can really play on it. But I think if you get the story right first, then work on the production, and then work on the third thing is growing your audience, then you will have viral videos.
I do actually think there is one part of me which genuinely believes this, is that I do know of some people who will hide behind editing and will hide. And that, by the way, hide is a wrong word. Actually, they will use the editing. They will use the GIFs, memes or whatever to create
accentuate
performance, because they actually know that their weapon is more copy. But when they try video, they need that to boost. And that's totally cool if you've got the self-awareness around it, by the way. And like Paul said, something I'm working on is writing copy. It takes me ages, man, to write one single post. Bro, oh my God. Like, you could have cooked like 50 cheesecakes, right, Paul? By the time I get one post out, it's painful. Video, boom. So it's something I need to work on, but I know people who are the opposite, right? So yeah, I think people like Jonathan, Jonathan's very open about this, but he spends on average 13 hours on a video.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so is
that filming and editing?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. But for example, he's very open and honest about that. You could talk to him about it. He talks about it openly. But he takes a long time, on average 13, sometimes some less, sometimes some more, but because he really views it as an art. Like, he genuinely pours his soul into it, and you can see, because every single it is top notch. Here is value. It's got everything.
It's got everything. It's got value. It's got humor. It's got everything. Yeah.
He puts out one a week. So now he does one a week. So he's not doing like 5 a day, half of his day spent that, and then he goes to bed. Like, it's one a week. So that works for him. And as Paul said, everybody's got their own formula, and for him, it works bloody well. That's why he's so good.
Yeah, interesting about if we use Jonathan Palmer as an example, is there's a lot that he does before he even picks up is the research, you know. So someone like myself who doesn't do a lot of research, you know, Jonathan's got his strength there where he's going away and getting the content ideas.
Yeah. He's actually preparing the content first.
Correct, you know, and you know, some people like to do that, some people don't. Like I said, I shoot from the hip. Maybe it's an area where I should invest a bit more as doing your research, but yeah, he does the research, he then films it, he then edits it, and then naturally pushes it out well. So I think there's a lot more that goes into it than you see.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can imagine he takes one whole day to do all that, but out the back of it, I'm sure he gets a handful of leads every single week. But he has to go through all the leads. He has to go through all the people. He has to massage everyone that's put a comment to get some leads out of it. So someone like him, he's got almost like a 2-day sales funnel of his week of producing the content, then going through it all and massaging it to get results out of it.
And then, of course, it's also the follow-up, because he's very active on the comments. It's not just you post the video and then you got to respond to people as well.
And he does it himself.
Yeah.
He's got a PA doing it. And that's actually, I hired John and Shay last year to teach me LinkedIn, because when I first started last year, I was like, mate, I don't know what like, this is so different. Like, what am I doing here? I feel like there's something good here, but who's doing it well? And I saw John and Shay doing it, but John will specifically spend time in the comments with people because he truly cares about building the community. And it's like, and you do reap the rewards if you spend that much time on it. And it's, you know, at points I found it really exhausting, man. You know, sometimes I'm like, man,
and I don't even get that many as he does. I mean, I get like 30 comments, so I find it exhausting, and I respond to every comment, but I find it exhausting to respond to 30 comments. I can imagine he gets like what, 100, 200, 300 comments.
Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
And a lot of his comments go into like the second and the third and the fourth, because you have Luke Matthews and all these other guys piling on. It's like, but again, it's a nice little community. It's a really cool, it's a fun community, because you know everyone's it's a lot of camaraderie and stuff. You know, him and Brian and all these other guys. But again, all these people are putting in a relatively good amount of time into their video. It's not like because a lot of people, because I meet people or I get DMs sometimes, people like, oh yeah, so what do you just write some points and then you read them on the camera. I'm like, well, that's what you think, but try doing it and then let me know, because it's not just writing down a bunch of points and reading. Because I was on the other side, like I used to do production, you know, part-time back in the Middle East for all these CEOs, top level CEOs of these are power players, right? From big billion-dollar oil companies, right? And they were known for being power players and stuff. And then you stick a camera in front of them, they could be like, um, um, today we're here to launch this. And I'd be like, man, I can't believe 7,000 people are scared of this dude or this woman because, and it's sweating profusely and stuff. It's just something that happens to the best of us when you put a camera in front of you. So it's just, and then speaking of this, I mean, so what would you guys recommend newbies? What would you recommend they do to sort of conquer their fears? Ravi, you know, you talk about conquering their fears. First, the fear of actually doing it,
Yeah.
actually wanting to do it, and then second, the fear of actually being on camera and getting over it.
I think the first thing, man, is everyone gets nervous. Like before you go out on stage, if somebody tells you they're not nervous, I call
And they're
BS.
lying.
I call
Yeah.
BS on it. I say nerves is a healthy, good human response. It's how you, if you see it as nerves or do you see it as excitement? So I think some people always say, I can't wait to get to a point where I've got no nerves. You wouldn't want that. Like you want to be excited about it, man. And everybody gets nervous. So I call BS on that. The second thing would be, I think, do the reps behind closed doors. So for example, inside of my boot camp, one of the things that we get people to do is we get them to do a 10 or 20-day video challenge where they shoot a video on a specific topic, 59 seconds, using a specific story structure. They do it consistently. And guess what? They then enjoy it and they go, wow, now I've got the confidence to go out there and do it on social. So do the reps, because you aren't popping out the womb suddenly with great tonality and intonation. Like, it takes time. You got to practice this stuff. So I would say, firstly, understand everybody gets nervous. That's just the truth. Number two is also grasp the fact that you've got to put in the reps, just like the gym, right? And finally, progress over perfection. If it's good enough, get it out.
Yeah, this is something I learned the hard way, because that was when, you know, initially when I started dishing out video content, I always wanted to make it perfect. And now I've realized I give myself like X amount of time. I give them like, okay, even if I'm editing or if I have a VA editing or whoever, I'm like, listen, just work on it for like an hour. That's it, right? If it's beyond an hour, screw it. You know, just work on the good bits. Just make the good bits look better. But if you can't do it within an hour, just forget it. Just because I want to release it today. And sometimes it's all about timing as well. You know, because the more you delay it, you know, the more irrelevant that content gets. So I totally agree. And so Paul, same question to you. But then again, see, you're someone who's, like you said, you shoot from the hip, right? So does it matter?
Yeah, I think some tips for people starting up and some things that I do is, you know, you can always self-audit yourself, but the flip side is just don't watch your content back. You know, just film it, post it, see what happens, and never watch it. You know, just if you cringe about yourself being in front of a camera,
I mean, don't watch it back when it's in editing. Watch it back after you've published it.
Never watch it back. Just film it, post it, chop it, and post it. So you're at a stage where you're not overanalyzing yourself.
But then wouldn't you say, like, how would you improve if you don't watch it?
Yeah, that's the kind of point I was trying to make at the start. But you could just look at the audience numbers and blah blah blah. You know, like looking at it from a numbers point of view. But if you really don't like watching yourself, then don't watch yourself. You know, so a lot of people do struggle watching themselves. And the other thing is, just remember there is two sides to a camera. You don't always have to do selfies. You know, flip the camera around the other side. Show people what you're looking at, not always yourself. So if you don't like being on camera, show 90% of what you're looking at and only 10% of yourself, and slowly move that from outward looking to inward looking. I actually try and do 50-50 what I'm seeing and a selfie view.
I think that's a really cool idea. I love it. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it makes sense when you like, you're not showing your face on all your videos, right? Sometimes the focus is on the food that you're making.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a balance of whatever you're happy doing, but remember the camera doesn't have to be on you 100% of the time.
Yeah, no, and again, it's that plus the camera doesn't have to be on you as you. And by that, I know Ravi knows what I'm talking about, because when was that? You were Harry Potter, right? Oh no, you had Harry Potter as a customer, as a client. so that was refreshing, but it was like, it's a cool way of showing people what they can do with Ravi. without being like, hey, check me out, I'm like the best damn sales trainer or presentation trainer in the world. Like, this is, it's edgy, right? But it also gives, it's edgy and entertaining and it's educational. So I think you gotta, I mean, you gotta have a bunch of boxes. You've got to create some boxes for you, and you got to check a few. You don't know how to check all of them, but you've got to check. I think if you got to figure out if the next piece of video content that you're gonna make, do you want it to be educational? Do you want it to be entertaining? Do you want it to be, I don't know, what's the word here, controversial? You can't aim for all three or all five or all seven, but even if you got two of the boxes, you're doing good. Because a lot of the times when I used to think about content, what I used to do is I used to just put a note on my phone, like I got an idea, oh, I'll write it down. I got a note, and I had a folder on my phone that says LinkedIn video ideas, and I had a bunch of them. And then eventually when it came time to film them, we're like, oh, this is crap, it doesn't make sense, I can't even think of anything to turn this into a video. And then some of those ideas were good, but I couldn't translate them to video, so I had to do a written post and stuff. And I'm actually good at writing. I'm a decent content writer. I write blog articles. So I thought maybe this time I'll try a blog and see how that works. And the other time I'll try video. And on the other time, I mean, like now I'm developing this. It's not a series or anything, but I'm just trying to help out new entrepreneurs with business, for instance. And one of the things I thought of is just randomly the day before yesterday, I flipped up my phone, but I didn't do it like I did it what's the word here? Candid. So it was not a selfie style video, but I flipped it this way. And I just filmed myself giving people advice. One person that really appeals to me, I don't know if you guys know Noah Kagan, the guy from AppSumo, the founder of AppSumo. I really like his videos for two reasons. One, it's full of really, really good content, very valuable tips and advice on entrepreneurship and stuff. And two, he is one of those guys, I don't think, because he doesn't do I don't see any cuts in his video. He just goes on with hardly any mistakes. So yeah, he's probably gifted when it comes to speaking, and he talks very fast. But the thing is, some people talk fast and they're boring. He talks fast, but you still listen to everything he's saying because he's just that engaging, right? And he's obviously I heard recently he's spending about $1 million on his YouTube channel because he really wants to focus on video. So he's obviously paying the editors to put the right pops and the bells and the whistles, literally the bells and the whistles and stuff. But so in closing, because we're gonna end this in a couple of minutes. So what would be the one tip that each of you would give to any aspiring video content creator? Ravi?
Ensure your content at the beginning doesn't go beyond 59-second videos because people don't have context on you just yet. Build rapport with them and then move to longer form content, which will also give you release because you feel like you don't have to put out these 5-minute videos. I'm talking about LinkedIn here specific. So stick to 59 seconds until people have more context on you. And part 1B of the tip is ensure that your content solves a problem for your ideal client.
Yeah, that's actually a valid point, because when I first started out doing video content, I wasn't aware of this, right? So my first video was like 4.5 minutes. Yeah. And then a couple of weeks later, I gave myself a break, and a couple of weeks later I played it and I said, okay, if I was on the other side, I would not listen to me because A, I'm not making sense. I'm all over the place, because of my inexperience on video showed, and B, I don't know this guy. Why would I want to spend 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of my time listening to him when I don't know him? He's not earned my trust yet. So exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Paul, just don't think about it. Just do it. So there's so many people out there that are planning it, thinking about it. Just start doing it, listening to your audience, and if they like it, do more. Try lots of different things, and yeah. Honestly, don't worry about it. One quick question. I've got literally 30 seconds until I go.
All right. One quick question. There's Raghunathan says, what should be the frequency of videos to put out?
1 a day. Don't be shy.
I'd say
1 a day. Does that depend on platform to platform, or is that
okay? Here we go. My last 10 seconds. TikTok, I aim to do 4 a day. LinkedIn, 1 a day. Twitter once a day, Instagram once a day, Instagram Reels once a day. That's my big thing at the moment. So,
yeah, there you go.
Oh, guys, I've got to shoot.
Same.
All right, guys.
Gents,
All right,
appreciate
thanks, guys. Thanks very much, guys. If you
Emotional.
guys got any questions, I mean, I'm talking about the viewers. Anyone got any questions? Put them in the comments, and we'll send them to Ravi and Paul and get your replies.
it, ladies and gents.
All right.
See you
Thanks very
soon.
much, guys.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Ravi. Cheers, Barry.
Great
Take care.
having you.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers. Adios. In fact, just before I sign off, we got quite a good initial response, and we're getting more people specifically to focus on video. So if you are interested, please sign up for the next session, which is happening in another 2 weeks. We're going to get specialized people on video. Not that Paul and Ravi were not specialized, but this is going to be giving you guys a different dimension. Paul and Ravi mainly focused on the marketing side of video making. We're going to try and also help people with the sales and with the other side of the business. There's still a lot of things you can do with video, and some of the things that I'm learning myself. So I am definitely going to be investing more time and energy into this, and I'll bring this to you. So looking forward to seeing you guys at the next event. Thanks very much for being part of session 2 of the Next Generation series, and we will see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay awesome.